I know exactly what you were doing when you looked in the mirror this morning. You were not looking at your clothes. You were not checking your hair. You were looking closely, terrifyingly closely, at the tiny, almost invisible changes in your face. You were calculating your exact age. You were looking at the calendar. And as the number flashed violently in your mind, a cold, heavy, suffocating wave of panic immediately crashed down on the very center of your chest. You felt the most agonizing, silent terror of the modern adult mind. You felt the completely paralyzing dread that you are fundamentally, irreversibly running out of time. Welcome to the most deeply guarded, crushing epidemic of the year 2026. You are suffering from the devastating illness of the phantom timeline. You are drowning in the absolute, terrifying conviction that you are entirely behind in your own life. Look at the incredibly tragic, punishing way you navigate your existence today. You are constantly carrying around a heavy, invisible blueprint. It is a brilliant, flawless script that you wrote in your head when you were 20 years old. It dictated exactly where you were supposed to be by now. By this specific age, you were supposed to have the perfect, unshakable career. You were supposed to own the beautiful house. You were supposed to have the completely figured out romantic relationship, the robust savings account, and the absolute, unwavering certainty of who you are. But you look around at your actual physical reality right now, and it does not look anything like the blueprint. It makes you feel like a complete, irredeemable failure, doesn't it? Let us be brutally, painfully honest about the immense psychological torture you are putting yourself through every single day. You are living in a hyper-competitive, economically chaotic era where the goalposts for a successful American life are constantly being violently moved. The traditional milestones are becoming statistically impossible for millions of people. You are trying to climb a ladder that has literally been pulled up right in front of your eyes. And yet, instead of blaming the broken system, instead of giving yourself incredible grace for surviving a uniquely terrifying chapter of human history, you blame yourself. You internalize the entire struggle. You look at your bank account. You look at your messy, unresolved relationship status. Or you look at your uncertain career path, and a vicious, relentless voice screams inside your head. What is wrong with me? Why have I not figured this out yet? Everyone else is moving forward, and I am completely stuck at the starting line. You are weaponizing your own age against your own soul. Think about the profound, agonizing isolation of this specific shame. You go to the celebrations, the weddings, the baby showers, and the massive career parties of your peers. You put on a brilliant, flawless smile. You hug them, you congratulate them, and you play the part of the incredibly supportive friend perfectly. But the moment you get back to your car, the moment you close the door and grip the steering wheel, you completely break down. You cry hot, exhausted tears of absolute panic. You are not crying because you are jealous of them. You are crying because their milestones are a violent, flashing reminder of the ghost of who you were supposed to be by now. You treat your life like it is a mathematical equation that you failed to solve. You are completely terrified of having to start over. If a relationship ends, if a career path falls apart, or if you simply realize that you hate the life you built, you do not see it as an opportunity. You see it as a devastating waste of time. You think to yourself, I am too old to be a beginner again. I am too old to be this confused. I missed the window, and now I am going to be left behind forever. You feel like a teenager entirely trapped inside the heavy, demanding body of an adult. Do you realize how incredibly exhausting it is to constantly measure your bleeding, chaotic, beautiful human reality against a sterile, completely fabricated timeline? You are mourning a life that never actually existed. You are entirely consumed by the grief of the parallel universe where you made all the right choices. You are so deeply obsessed with catching up to that imaginary version of yourself that you are completely missing the brilliant, staggering beauty of the person you actually are today. You are so profoundly tired. You are exhausted from sprinting on a treadmill, desperately chasing a finish line that society completely made up. You want to stop running. You desperately want to just breathe. But you are entirely paralyzed by the fear that if you stop, you will never, ever be enough. Take a deep, violent breath of air. I need you to pull that breath all the way down into the very bottom of your lungs. Hold it there and feel the heavy, undeniable tension vibrating inside your chest. Now, exhale with a massive, heavy sigh. Drop the invisible measuring tape on the floor. I am giving you the absolute, unconditional permission to burn the blueprint to ashes. Listen to my voice and let this profound, unshakable truth shatter the heavy glass around your mind. You are not behind. You are not late. There is no master schedule in the universe. There is no ticking clock assigned to your worth. And you have absolutely not missed your window for a beautiful life. It is time to commit the most radical, magnificent, and terrifying act of rebellion imaginable in the modern world. You must aggressively, fiercely divorce your self-worth from your societal milestones. Who told you that your life had to be a straight, uninterrupted line going constantly upward? Who told you that starting over was a failure. The blueprint you are crying over was drawn by a much younger version of you. A version of you who knew absolutely nothing about the deep, terrifying, complex reality of the actual world. Why are you allowing the naive dreams of a child to hold your magnificent, fiercely resilient adult soul completely hostage? Tomorrow morning, I want you to wake up and completely erase the timeline. If you are starting over at 30, at 40, or at 50, I want you to look in the mirror and smile with absolute, undeniable pride. Being a beginner again does not mean you failed. It means you survived. It means you possess the incredible, breathtaking courage to look at a broken path and say, "This is not right for me, and I am brave enough to choose something else." You must relearn how to honor the beautiful, chaotic detours of your own specific existence. The universe does not care about your 5-year plan. The universe operates in seasons of wild, unpredictable growth and deep, necessary periods of invisible rest. The time you spent confused, the years you spent wandering, the relationships that completely failed, those were not wasted years. They were the heavy, vital chisels that carved out the deep, profound empathy and wisdom you carry in your bones right now. You do not need to catch up to anyone. The people who look perfectly put together on the internet are fighting their own invisible demons in the dark. The race is a complete illusion. You are only running against yourself. Forgive yourself for not having it all figured out. Nobody has it completely figured out. The most brilliant, interesting, and deeply beautiful human beings on this planet are the ones who took the long, scenic, completely broken roads to find their joy. Drop the heavy burden of supposed to be. Step entirely out of the timeline. Breathe in the thick, vibrant, undeniable air of the exact, imperfect place you are standing in right now. Your life is not a delay. Your life is officially, magnificently happening today. You are exactly where you need to be. Now, open your eyes, forgive the clock, and step forward into your own beautifully unmapped territory.